Hi, I'm Dr. Danso, welcome back. I'm delighted to have a very special guest, Carl, with me today, and we are going to be talking about male cosmetic procedures. The reason I wanted to talk about this is because since I've been doing the Clinic Diaries, I've been getting quite a few messages from some of my male friends asking me my opinion on male procedures such as hair transplants, for example, and I thought you would be a great person to kind of discuss things further. Is that right?
Yeah, I might have a thing or two to add.
So welcome. Why do you think there's been a rise in sort of male cosmetic procedures?
First of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to talk
I'm
to
so
you
excited.
and to your listeners and viewers. I don't know necessarily that there has been a rise.
Yeah.
You're in a better position than
Yeah.
me to say.
Yeah.
But we're certainly talking about it more as a society. And that's definitely not a bad thing. It's certainly better to have those conversations out front than have guys who are confused or embarrassed go and make hasty decisions, not quite understand what they're getting themselves into, and in the worst scenarios, cause themselves further injury or even death.
And do you think there's like sort of an insecurity that underlines a lot of these decisions?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's probably not so much more different from female cosmetic surgery in that you see something that either you don't like in yourself or society has told you you shouldn't like in yourself, and so you take the action to rectify it.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll go on to talk about your sort of personal journey and experience, but how long had you been thinking about having something done?
Oh gosh, a long time. I think my first awareness that I could do something cosmetically was probably in my early to mid-teens.
Okay.
And without giving the game away right now, I think it sort of stemmed with my mum, who said, hey, let's go and talk to a doctor about this.
Okay.
Let's see if there's something we can do. And from then it sort of snowballed, and years later I ended up making a decision.
And you said it was your teens. Were you bullied, or do you think it had an impact on your self-esteem, or?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's tricky, right? Because when you talk about bullying today, you're talking about social media, you're talking about a lot more extreme examples of bullying than, 15 odd, 20 odd years ago.
And sort of moving away slightly, hair transplants. We were actually just talking before about quite a few footballers have had procedures done. Do you think that's kind of made it more acceptable?
Perhaps.
Yeah?
Yeah, I also think it's cheaper, so that's probably made it more accessible, moreover. But I kind of think about hair transplants for men as I do weave and wigs for women. In that, ultimately you're doing the same thing. You're, for whatever reason, not as happy as you otherwise might be with the state of your hair at the moment.
Oh.
And so you're either transplanting, or in a guy's case, or in some guys' cases, lace fronting, or whatever else it is.
Yeah, which is a real thing. Yeah. Lace fronts on guys, definitely seen that.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting. So it's more the option, because you were talking about hair, and I think you mentioned that as well previously. It's like the option to have, I could rock my natural hair, and the option not to.
Yeah.
So it's the same for hair transplants, really. So you can.
Exactly. Like I'm as bald as you can get, and if I don't trim sort of the sides of my head, like it looks a complete mess because there's a bit of hair here and nothing on the top. So I don't really have the option of growing my hair. So if I was thinking about a hair transplant, it would be to have the option to grow my hair, or to have a hairline if I wanted one. Not that I would, grow a massive high top and rock that all the time.
Yeah, it's just the option, really, I guess. Okay, I understand that. Okay, so back to your personal surgery that you had done. Who did you speak to before you decided to have it done?
Gosh, so way back when as a teenager, I spoke to my GP and a consultant at an NHS hospital.
Okay.
And years later, after university, when I actually went to have that procedure done, I went basically direct to a consultant. I didn't sort of go via the GP route and get a referral or anything like that. Partly because, as an arrogant 20-something-year-old, I thought that having studied genetics at university, I knew enough to sort of sound out any
Was your GP supportive when you went the first time to the NHS?
Yeah, very. They were
Yeah?
very eager. It's hard to say now why they were so eager, but they were open to it.
And I think it's important to distinguish that there are some conditions, and we'll talk about yours in a bit more detail, where you can have it done on the NHS if it's causing quite a lot of significant, sort of almost like it's quite detrimental to your health. That's when we would do procedures on the NHS. But even the pathway to get that done is quite a long journey. So just to point that out.
Okay.
So it's time for the big reveal.
Drum roll. So I had a mastectomy,
Okay.
which is removing fat and breast tissue from your chest.
I mean, I've known you a long time.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So that happened during the course of us knowing each other.
Okay.
So this was around 2013.
2013.
Yeah,
okay.
spring 2013 is when it happened.
Wow. Okay, who did you tell?
No one at first.
Yeah.
So maybe if I just tell you sort of the entire
go
thing
for it,
beginning
go
to
for
end.
it.
So I think late 2012, I sort of did a deep dive on Google, popped up a bunch of stuff. It was all very salesy, so I didn't
Yeah.
know very much. And I basically picked a clinic on Harley Street that had really good reviews in general, and figured I'd go and talk to someone there. Yes, they'll be salesy, but hopefully I can sense, if they're being salesy versus if they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So late 2012, I had that consultation, talked about what I wanted, got examined, and the doctor said, yep, I understand what you're going for, makes sense. Take a couple of brochures, etc., and let me know what you want to do. And I basically did nothing. I sort of sat on that information. Also, getting a consultation was the only way you could get a quote.
Yeah.
So I sort of sat on that information. 2013, kind of by chance, I started cycling to and from work daily. And I guess that simple change in my routine meant I lost a fair bit of weight. But I thought, actually, I've got a bit of cash now. I still want to do this thing. Let me go back to them and see what's going on. And when I went back, the consultant was like, oh wow, you've lost a lot of weight. I'm even happier to do this now because it's less risky and you've shown a broader desire to lose weight rather than just sort of have it sucked out of you. And yeah, so I spent a few weeks recovering, a couple of days in bed, and then a few days with various bandages on, various.
Yeah, you must have to have compression bandages.
Exactly, I had that for a few weeks, and then fewer bandages, and I think probably after about 6 weeks, I was sort of given the all clear to sort of raise my hands again and carry stuff. Yeah.
And what about like sensation?
I was told there'd be a chance of loss of nipple sensation. I was like, okay, I'm like, I'm not walking around like this anyway, so small loss.
Yeah.
I think straight out the gates, everything was numb, and I remember over the sort of the earlier months and sort of certainly in the first year, noticing sensation coming back. I think so long ago, it's hard to remember exactly before and after, but there's enough sensation now that it feels pretty normal. I'd even say it's probably back to where it was.
Yeah.
It took a long time.
And is there anything you have to do long term, or you just pretty much?
No. I mean, there's a general thing anytime you have like fat, and I'm sure you know this, when you have like sort of fat tissue removed, which is that if I gain weight, I'm very, unless I gain a lot of weight, I'm probably never gonna have man boobs again. So fat's gonna go elsewhere.
Yeah, and that might.
And so that's another set of issues.
Yeah.
But beyond that, there's nothing really to.
Yeah,
further care.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that you feel better in yourself, and I'm even more glad that you're sharing this, because it's something that I don't really know any of my guy friends that has had something done and spoken so openly about, and I'm sure it's taken you time to get to this point.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I don't know any other guys that have had similar procedures or any procedures really.
Yeah.
And if they have, they haven't told me. I think I started off telling people on a need to know basis. So I told my friend because I needed her to pick me up. I then think I told a couple of really close friends because I was out and drunk.
Yeah.
And I was like, guys, you know, I did this thing. Look, it's all flat. I've stopped caring about it. I've stopped thinking, oh, people are gonna think X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, and I think it's good because someone's gonna watch that, and that will give them the push to either go and speak to their GP about something they've been worried about, or safely go and do some research. And I say safely because, as we said earlier, there's lots of different surgeons that can encourage cosmetic surgery, and they're not safe. So if you want more information, I always recommend going on the BAPS website, which the link will be here. Have a look to find a reputable cosmetic surgeon. So that's just some advice. So finally, what advice would you give to someone, a man, who is kind of like toing and froing about the procedure?
That's a good question, because I don't think, having had cosmetic surgery, that I'm necessarily a massive advocate of it. Because I sort of made light of it earlier, but you could die.
Yeah.
So it's not a decision to be taken lightly.
Yeah.
I think if you can answer the question, what are you trying to achieve and when will you be happy? And those answers are sensible to someone who isn't you, then maybe it's something to explore further. But if you're like, why am I doing it? And it's like, I don't know, beards are out of fashion now and high tops are in, when will you be happy? When I look as cool as all the people on trend, you're sort of, you
just
know,
chasing after.
Exactly, you're chasing after yesterday's dreams sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's going to snowball into a lot of cost, a lot of risk, and probably not towards happiness, because the goalpost is moving.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow, that was really good. I'm just so happy that you've shared that with me, and I feel really honoured. Okay, so for more information, you can find me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at the Clinic Diaries.